Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Cancer. Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of December 2024. I hope you are well. I'm using the Night Sun Tarot for you today. Before we begin, if the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access. That's via the first link in the description box. But other than that, let's get straight on Cancer. Flip the camera. I have 3 cards for Cancer. What's going on with Cancer, please? Well, there's the first 2, actually. So we have the 7 of Wands and the Page of Pentacles in your recent past. Let's have a look at current energy for Cancer, please. Ooh. Page of Swords on its side. And what's coming towards Cancer, please? Goodness. What's coming towards Cancer, please? Okay, we have the Devil. Right. Take heart. There's no issue here. I dropped that one, so I'm not going to take it. We have the Empress card at the bottom of the deck there. That represents Taurus, or occasionally Libra as well, because actually it's ruled by Venus, so covers both of those signs. The Empress is all to do with abundance and fertility, not just in terms of birthing children, but in terms of the creative act itself. For me, it is also a card that speaks specifically about gratitude for the situation that we find ourselves in. You seem to me to be a little bit embattled this month, Cancer. We've got this card on its side. Oh, these are pretty good. This one's on its side. And then we've got the Devil card here, which represents Capricorn or Saturn, as it happens. And I know that Saturn's making some some difficult aspects this month. And I do believe it is the cardinal signs that are getting a bit of a kicking. Whether it was exactly to do with that or whether it was something else as well, I can't remember. Perhaps astrologers in the comments could let us know if there's anything specific that Cancer needs to know about. But let's get some clarifiers on the table. So 7 of... Ooh, we've got 8 of Swords. 7 of Wands and Page of Pentacles here. I'm not taking all of those, that's far too many. Not even going to look at them. Let's get them back in. No. For Cancer. Right, we have the King of Wands, Leo, Ace of Cups, and the 5 of Pentacles. It does feel circular, in so much as you feel to me to be going around in circles just a little bit with yourself. Tell me about this Page of Swords, please. We've got the 9 of Pentacles. Oof, and the 7 of Cups, as we might expect. And what about the Devil? Why is the Devil here, please? We have the Strength card and we have the 6 of Pentacles. Right, 5 of Wands is at the bottom of the deck here, and while I'm chuntering away, I'll straighten up these cards because that's appalling. The 5 of Wands is Saturn in Leo. It does speak to struggle, principally. It can talk about conflict and it can talk about strife. It can certainly talk about the kind of conflict that we experience within ourselves. And I would say that this is largely centered on yourself, Cancer, rather than necessarily seeing its expression in relationships or situations outside of you. I wonder if part of this is because of the Mars retrograde, which will come back into the sign of Cancer, currently in Leo, but it will come back into the sign of Cancer at some point, possibly. But then, you know, depending on where you're, what placement you're listening for today, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, whatever, and where those particular placements are located, it could be lighting up a different part of life for all of you, but there seems to be some sort of internal battle going on here. There's a desire for an embrace of all things that are good in one's life, right? So expressions of gratitude. There's a struggle towards that, but there seems to be something that's kind of pulling you backwards and having you go round in circles with yourself. I mean, I do think in December there's going to be some sort of breakthrough, possibly. Choosing my words carefully here because I'm not sure that breakthrough is the word. No, I think breakthrough possibly is the word. But there's quite a lot that's frustrating that's happening down here in the clarifiers. So up here we have Mars and Leo, right? 7 of Wands. But we also have the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles here for you feels like resolution. Not resolution as in completion of something or the resolving of a situation, but a resolution to resolve something, a resolution to not be defensive, not be guarded, not be any of these things, not feel like one is under attack, for example. A resolution to look for the things that one is actually positive about and that one feels a sense of gratitude for. And yet something is just a little bit off kilter, because when we get down here, we've got you running up against the Eight of Swords, trying to create... trying to place a balm on the top of it with the King of Wands and the Ace of Cups, and then circling back to this feeling of frustration and stuckness. I mean, truly, the cards of being stuck here are the Eight of Wands, Eight of Swords and the Devil card. Both of them speaking in their own particular way about that feeling of being restricted and trapped and unable to move, unable to go in any particular direction. Excuse me. Whereas the Five of Pentacles feels more like loss or the fear of loss, right? Even something that feels a bit doomy as I'm looking at it here. It's like all of this energy that you're trying to put into being positive, and you keep coming back against the same thing over and over again. And it's like turning the other cheek and turning the other cheek and turning the other cheek, and still we're coming back to the same place. You know, the beautiful thing about the Eight of Swords, when I see that, and I do think there is something beautiful in that, is the fact that the Eight of Swords represents both the issue, you know, capital I, air quotes, but also in its own way the resolution of the issue. And I wonder if that's the thing that has been proving difficult at this point, is trying to see where it is that it would represent a solution. What do I mean by this? Well, the Eight of Swords represents the cage that we build for ourselves within our own minds, right? The swords are all about logic and reason and the way that we think about things, our particular perception of reality, this sort of stuff. This is all covered by the swords. Workings of our mind, our communications, these are all swords-like topics. And then anything numbered 8 is talking about where we find our power within that. So the Eight of Swords actually becomes a card of empowerment if we can work out how it is that we ourselves are holding ourselves back in our own mind, right? Now, the counterpoint to this that I think you've been trying to employ is very active self-care, very active expressions of gratitude, trying to prime your reticular activation system to look for the things that are good in life. And yet it either feels like you slide back or you come against, like I said, come up against the same walls over and over again. I'm actually going to pull another deck out here. Because the difficulty in this card is actually identifying what it is that is causing the problem in terms of the way that we're analysing the problem. You know, when it comes to things like having fun and enjoying ourselves and, you know, having an appreciation for the finer things in life, sometimes we find ourselves in a state where we're like, well, I don't have time for that. And that's not true. We have all the time in the world for everything. What is true, and, you know, that I don't have time, I can't, is shorthand for my list of priorities are such that I am attributing more priority to this thing over here than I am to this thing over there, right? It's maybe a slightly autistic point, but I've found that point to be really quite helpful when it comes to the undoing of knots in one's head. Like, what are priorities and where? What are priorities and why? And how much are we kind of trying to do things on good faith? No, good faith's not the right word. With good intentions, without necessarily seeing how we're tripping ourselves up somewhere. Now, I have to say, like, I've done a few December readings already, and Aries, as a cardinal sign, actually, seems to be kind of handling this energy very well. But everybody else seems to be having a bit of an issue with this. Now, to be fair, this is in the recent past, and so let's just get a clarifier for that. What do we have here? Temperance. Patience, healing, balance, equilibrium. I mean, have you been trying to rush something? Is this why you keep coming around in circles? Have you actually allocated a certain amount of time, a reasonable amount of time, to a healing process, a balancing process, whatever it is that you may be trying to cultivate more of in your life at the moment? And is it in the rushing that it is causing the problem? That's entirely possible. But at the same time, the Temperance card does talk about divine guidance and divine timing, divine orchestration, these sorts of things. And it's that feeling of the universe having its hand on our forehead as we're wheeling in kind of comedy toddler style, saying, not yet, hang on, wait a minute, just calm down, just take a breath, wait. I think it might possibly be that. Because all the intentions are good and they're all pointing in the same way, but I don't know why you would keep ending up in this spiral here if it were not for the fact that something was being rushed that needs to be given the right amount of time to play its way out, right? So we come into your recent energy, and we have here the Page of Swords. Now, the Page of Swords is a relatively neutral card, actually. I mean, some people read it positively upright and negatively in the reverse. I've seen people interpret the Page of Wands, Page of Swords, beg your pardon, in reverse as somebody gathering information on you, right? And I can see the logic of that. But I think the Page of Swords himself is an information gatherer, right? And to a degree, the Page of Swords needs to recognise the importance of what he has discovered in order to consider it worthy to pass on to the Knight of Swords, right? There's a certain amount of mental acuity that is required to fulfill that role. And in the process of fulfilling that role, the Page of Swords will likely experience quite this creative act of pieces of information starting to synthesize together, such that he recognizes their importance and then hands them over to the knight to take to the queen, who can sift through all of this and get really, really discerning about what is true and what is not and all those kind of things. Now, we can talk about the Page of Swords in terms of gathering information, mental expansion, mental creative works, all the shutting down of that. But the fact is, he's lying here on his side and he's not particularly active. He's there, but he's not been activated. He's not seeing how things move together. I mean, quite often, if the Page of Swords is anything other than upright, what we have is a situation where there's information coming in, but we're not seeing the link between the things. We're not able to engage in that creative act to draw a line between A and C, for example, and say, there is a link here, there is something that we can do here. I think, was it Steve Jobs who once said creativity was simply being able to join dots that other people hadn't really noticed was possible? I always get that sort of feeling when I'm talking about the Page of Swords. Because we do have some sort of expansion of the mental landscape going on whenever he's there, right? So the information's coming in, but we're not seeing it as it is. And that's either because it's not been fully exposed yet, which is possible, or it's all there, but we haven't put all the pieces together yet. Now, you add in the fact that you seem to be very distracted at the moment by the need to be trying to look after yourself, to be grateful for whatever you have, to be trying to keep on top of all of your shit, and also, initiate new things. But there's this incredible feeling of conflict within oneself. It's a little like those more toxic interpretations of the law of attraction, right? Where they say, well, you just have to want it enough. And if you don't get what you want and you don't manifest it overnight, then clearly you weren't thinking hard enough, right? It turns into this weird kind of victim blaming for things not manifesting, rather than trying to see where the obstacles are in what should be a very natural act of manifestation, right? And there's something here that you're missing, Cancer, and I'm not sure what it is, right? You're trying to put all of these positive vibes out into the universe, and there's a different conversation going on in your subconscious with the universe compared to the conversation that's going on between your conscious mind and the universe. Ergo, you are pulling in different directions. You as a combined entity of subconscious and conscious. And you keep coming up against stuff. Now, it could be that some of you are simply struggling with your emotional health at the moment, and I mean that would be entirely understandable in the world as it is right now. It taking quite a lot of effort to be positive when things all seem to be going wrong. And for you to put all of that effort into being positive only for things to go wrong even more becomes a bit of a Sisyphean task after a while. But we've got the Nine of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups here. Now the Nine of Pentacles is all about how you manage your resources, and those resources are not simply material. We're not just talking about money when those show up. We can absolutely be talking about money, but we can be talking about your time, your care, your effort, your money, your love, your attention. You know, where energy goes, where attention goes, energy flows. And although the Nine of Pentacles is generally quite a good card that indicates independence and good management of resources and whatnot, I always think it's really weird in this particular card, in the Triple Goddess, that there are bars around the garden, this very verdant and beautiful garden that she's in. Which makes me feel like there's something about the way that the resources are stacked that is obstructive, it's oppressive, it's actually caging you in, it's keeping you where you are. Now it could be to do with your relationship with those resources, right? You manage them well, but actually at the end of the day they manage you because you need to try and hold on to them. But we might expect to see the Four of Pentacles instead if that were the case. There certainly seems to be a lot of confusion around what you're supposed to think and what you're supposed to be investing in. You actually feel really quite lost to me at the moment. So we've got the Four of Cups in reverse, a card of gratitude. Straight up gratitude, that's what that means to me. But then we have the World card in reverse. And the World card in reverse is saying we're repeating a pattern here. We are going around in a circle. We're not completing a bigger cycle. We're just spinning in a circle down here at some point short of where the end of this cycle is. And you seem to be putting lots of effort into trying to crack that, but it's not paying any dividends. So it seems to you at this point. There's one more card for this Seven of Cups. Ah, it's two. Fucking hell. Ten of Cups, Three of Cups. But the Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Now, both the Three of Cups and the Ten of Cups speak to some aspect of community. Ten of Cups particularly is about the wider community that you find yourself in, whether that's the wider family, because Ten of Cups can be the happy family card, whether it's your friendship group, work colleagues, business partners, whatever, or whether we're talking, you know, slightly further out than that, your neighborhood, or, you know, the town that you live in, the community that you hang out within a particular geographical area. This is in the upright here, and it's striving for a certain state of perfection. The Three of Cups brings this slightly closer to home. It's not quite as intimate as those one-on-one relationships, but it's not so far out that it makes it, you know, of the business of the Ten of Cups. Here, we're talking about emotional support networks, the people that are around you to support you and who vice versa you also support. But there's a lot of confusion around this. There's an emotional desire for something here, but there's a confusion of how to get it. additionally, there's this push to try and be bringing more of a gratitude practice into your daily situation. But that in and of itself is not sufficient to break this spin. And it does feel like a bit of a tailspin that's going on at the moment, which ends up with you kind of looping around these cards here. Why are you being so hard on yourself about something, Cancer? Because it's very clear that you don't have all of the information. Now, whether you're trying to rush something or whether you're trying to understand it, right, and what you've got in front of you doesn't really make any sense, which is possible, we can't really get away from the fact that you don't have all of the information. What you do have is confusing. What you do have is a questionable veracity, because the Seven of Swords can talk about deception and deceit. Oh, look, and there it is. We have the Eight of Swords behind it. It's like you've tied yourself up in a massive knot somehow. And not only am I not entirely sure how you've done it, but I'm also not sure why. Everything that you're trying to do is not giving you the return that you expected. There's something fundamental that you're missing here, Cancer. That to me feels very, very clear, because there's enough of this, the thrust of the positivity that you're trying to bring to the situation. But there's something that knits this all together that is just simply not showing up here. Now I wonder if this is your Eight of Swords moment, right? It's just like, I can't make head nor tail of anything. In true Cancerian style, though, this is exceedingly complex. Not only to try and, pull apart and make sense of, but I would imagine to experience this is a very complex situation. We've got lots of sevens which are striving for truth. Seven of Wands, Seven of Cups, Seven of Swords. We've got these positive cards of gratitude. Empress, we've seen the Empress twice, the Four of Cups, King of Wands and the Ace of Cups together, the Page of Pentacles. These are all positive. Nine of Pentacles even, mostly is positive. But you feel to me to be incarcerated by something. Now, might it be the contents of your own head? I would say almost certainly, because that's often the point of the Eight of Swords, right? It's that the issue is in here, it's not out there. And when we can crack what that is, then suddenly, all number of routes forward open up. What are we not seeing here? Let's ask the wild unknown. Let's give it a shuffle. What are we missing here? Eight of Pentacles reversed. What are we missing here? And the Hermit. It's definitely the energy of a skipped step here, Cancer. We've got the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck, indicating burden, right? But also indicating something that is actually coming to a state of completion, whereby you're going to be able to put this down soon. But we're not there yet. Now, could it be that you've been looking for information outside of yourself and it's not being forthcoming? That's entirely possible, right? And particularly as it pertains to your health within some sort of, emotional support network or community setting. But it feels like the more effort you're putting into trying to be positive, it's almost compounding that feeling of being stuck and trapped. And even then, the things that should feel like they're really, really good are also oppressive in a way that we don't really like, right? And then we have this Eight of Pentacles reversed, which is not commitment. It is not hard work. It is, I think, it feels like it's some sort of skipped step. It's something that's been missed. Now, when you add that in here with this, you don't have all of the information yet. And we have the Hermit. It's saying there's something really quite profound going on within you right now, Cancer, that you can't really go over the top of. When the Ten of Wands shows up, like, we've got to go through that. We really do have to kind of launch ourselves into the thicket to find out what's going on within us. Because, like I said, there's a malaligned conversation going on between your conscious and your subconscious mind, and it's throwing out mixed signals to the universe. And the universe doesn't seem to know what it is that you want. And it's trying to throw a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of the other to help kind of match you, but it can't, because you're at crossed purposes with yourself. Feeling conflicted. Maybe, see, I mean, for some of you, you're probably feeling a little bit persecuted, actually. So, right, trying to, the 12 tasks of Hercules, trying to empty a lake with a spoon, or, the Sisyphean task of pushing a rock up a hill only for it to roll back down at the end of the day. I mean, you're expending an awful lot of energy in doing what you think is right, and it seems to be kicking the shit out of you. And this skipped step, this missing information, a missing piece of the puzzle somewhere, it's in here. And as things stand, you can't see it. And like I said, particularly as it relates to you and people. TM. So, when we move into December, I've just got my little puppy over the devil's boobies there, because I want the AI bots to get upset. We have the energy of the devil. And this really is a kind of peak moment of stuckness, of frustration, of even, emerging awareness of one's own toxicity, right? We can see those things coming up. Maybe toxicity of situations, toxicity of the things that we're trying to put ourselves through, the things that we're trying to force. I mean, whenever the devil shows up, what we have is a situation that has its seat somewhere in a personal fear that we have. Now, it can be a fear of being, it can quite simply be a fear of being stuck or trapped. It can be a fear of being in a state of poverty. It can be a fear of being, trapped by one's own success. It will be different for each of you. But what is consistent right across the way is there's some way in which you are trapping yourself. Now, if it could be by way of expectation, it could be by way of, you kind of setting yourself up for something, trying to speed run something. Like you're trying to do a Naruto run through, I don't know, some sort of healing experience. And it's like, no, Cancer, you got to do this slowly and methodically. But I can't help but feel, and we just leave the Eights of Swords and all the other things to one side for a second. There's an interesting dynamic that's going on between the 5 and the 9. We know that the 5 talks about loss, or the fear of loss. And we know that the 9 represents acquisition, gain, independence, sovereignty, all of those things. But then it feels like it's a trap. Now, if your subconscious mind is viewing something as a trap, whether it's your own success or something else, it's going to do whatever it can to sabotage the possibility of you getting anywhere near that. And there could be all sorts of different reasons for that, right? So for a long time, I didn't like the idea of, I wanted to do well in things, but then my subconscious would absolutely freak out, shut down over the thought of being seen doing anything at all, right? And that was because in my childhood, having any kind of attention on me at all always led to some sort of negative response from my parents, right? So I came to equate attention full stop with I am under threat now. And so I would do anything that I could to stay away from that. And that's something that I'm still working with. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily the same for you, but there does seem to be two distinctly different attitudes that are at play in you at the moment that are pulling in very different directions. And there's a deeply misaligned energy that's coming out from you and trying to communicate with the universe, right? So in December, I think, well, I know, I can see that here, between the Strength card and the Six of Pentacles, what we've got is an opportunity to put that right, to create a sense of personal equilibrium around the idea of resources, because here we have the card of the balancing of resources, and here we have, one might say, the opposite end of the spectrum on each, leading to your own personal growth and a kind of stemming of the flow outwards of your energy into something that isn't really giving you anything. Now, I've said before, and I actually stand by this, that for me, the antithesis of the Devil card is actually the Nine of Pentacles. The Devil is that, big, intimidating, overwhelming sense that we are pinned where we are and we cannot choose, we cannot do anything else. Right? It's the loss of free will in any given situation. And whilst the opposite in some ways is absolutely true, that it's the Lover's card, when it comes to the act of correcting that within ourselves, that would have to be a minor arcana card, right? Action, response, or, big universal energy. This is what I can control and this is what I'm going to do. And it's refusing to feel stuck. It's refusing to feel trapped. It's refusing to feel like you have no choice in anything. It's refusing to feel unsafe, I think, is a really important thing. And generally in the Nine of Pentacles, what we have is somebody who feels safe and comfortable and relaxed, right? Actually, on the Waite Smith deck, there's a little tiny snail. Actually, let me get it out. I'll show you. There's a little tiny snail in the foreground of this scene, and it is indeed that snail that actually represents the true sense of independence that we're all kind of striving for, because the snail can pick up its home and it can relocate itself wherever it likes. It's not restricted, it's not bound to one place. Oh yes, I have struck upon something. I can feel my internal tuning fork going off quite hard. There we are. So I'll just hold that up for those of you who haven't had the benefit of looking at that. That little black blob there, that's actually a snail. And it's relocating itself. It's put its home on its back. I'm off, chief. I'm going to go find somewhere else to be. Doesn't have much, but what it has, it can take with it wherever it goes. Conversely, the woman that we have on here, in a lovely dress, this verdant green grass, lovely shrubs, pentacles adorning the bars on the garden. It's like here, you're no more free, no more sovereign than you felt over here in the Five of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. Which means that what you have latched onto as the idea of how to get yourself from one place to another is not quite the thing that needs shifting. It's not the thing that needs changing. I mean, in the first instance, I would absolutely say it's not environmental. It's definitely something that is deeply within you, and, that would be supported by the energy of the Hermit here. I wonder if for some of you the idea that you should be grateful for how things are different now, or what you have now versus what you haven't had in the past, is undermining a very real sense of upset that you have and that you're carrying subconsciously. That in and of itself can invoke feelings of shame, which, as we know, that's where we start spiraling quite hard. December is about addressing that. It's about bringing this point of balance. Because we don't want to live at either extreme, actually. It's not good for humans to live at extremes. I have the Strength card. There we go. We've got the Page of Pentacles showing up again. Oh, let's take that like that. Four of Pentacles. Did I not say Four of Pentacles earlier on? I did. Look at this. Cancer, you've got briefly stuck. That's what I want to say here, and that's okay. But it is the way that you're trying to resolve the stuckness that is entrenching the stuckness that you are feeling right now. Right, the Page of Pentacles is a return to value. Right, it's a return to an understanding of a particular value that exists. And this is what I want to invest in. This is what is good. This is what I want moving forwards. It's not this slightly corrupted version of whatever's going on here, right? So we get everything straight in our own mind, growing as we do, and allowing ourselves to heal around whatever is being thrown up here. I would remind you at this point also that we are in a Mercury retrograde. Like I said right at the beginning, we have that Mars retrograde going on from the 6th of December too. But we're in the grip of a Mercury retrograde until the 15th of December, and then there's a 2.5-3 week cool down shadow period that comes after that. Very important for allowing ourselves the time to reflect, reevaluate, reconsider, all of these rewords, bring everything up for some sort of reworking. And your idea of value and what is important to you and what really means something to you seems to be playing out here over the course of December for you. Showing you what you do not need, right? What you can let go of. Not what you are losing, but what you can let go of, because it never really was part of what made you feel good in the first place. The Six of Cups in reverse is fascinating, because the Six of Cups represents the past, all aspects of the past. The only thing that really the cutoff is that it's usually quite distant past, right? So it's children or childhood, your distant past. Sometimes it can be soulmate relationships, past life stuff, but it's of the old. It's in the past. It's not here right now. This Four of Pentacles, which is eking its way around to reversed, is a sense of comfort in allowing to leave what is no longer for you, instead of trying to juggle everything. I mean, I don't know what's been going on with you, but you feel very burdened, you feel very trapped, and there's a conscious effort to try and get out of it, try and, move through it, rather. But there seems to be something subconsciously that is pulling you in a different direction. December is all about discovering what that is. And I like the fact that we're going from this myriad of Pentacles, myriad of Cups, into something much more simplistic, right? All my Pentacles are in a row. This is the one that I want. I'm going to let these ones go. I don't need to carry the past around with me. That is part of what can also leave. What's complex here is that you're trying to create some sort of foundation for future movement for yourself. You can see that. But it seems so complicated because there are too many things going on in this that are, like I said, pulling in different directions. And it's time to strip it down and use the retrograde energy to do that. Like I said, I do feel like you've been trying to rush ahead on something. It's okay to slow down here, Cancer. And in fact, the advice, if you take nothing else away from this reading, but this is, allow yourself to slow down and stop judging what is happening. Stop judging yourself for everything, because it's leading to this shame cycle that you seem to be stuck in. And there's no need for you to be carrying that around with you. You're putting undue pressure on yourself, and it's just entrenching what the issue is. It's like hold lightly and... oh, I forget the phrase. Let go lightly. I think it's hold tightly and let go lightly or something like that. You look like you need a bit of a rest, Cancer, if I'm honest. All right. I'm going to leave it here and I'm going to go over to the extended. If you'd like to join me over there, you're very welcome to do so. I'd be delighted to see you over there. You can join me on Circle, or you can join me over on Vimeo. Either place is cool. Whatever's right for you is right for me. And we're going to go and have a look and see if we can't unpick some of this for you, because I'm starting to wonder if it is that you're missing information, or it's that you're missing the link between the pieces of information. And if I can help synthesize that for you so that you stop giving yourself such a hard time, then I would consider that to be a job well done. So if you'd like to join me over there, you're very welcome to do so. If not, no shade. I'll catch you next time. I just want to give you a hug, Cancer. This is like sticky, you know? All right. Know that I love you all very, very much. And I'll see you soon.